We have a video here, a clip to share of foreign interference targeting, guess who? Mark Carney, a CCP, a Chinese Communist Party linked WeChat account, ran a foreign influence campaign supporting Carney and this 2025 election, reaching up to 3 million views. It aimed to sway Chinese Canadian voters with coordinated.
Towards Carney, we should note, because a lot of the attacks were
Yes.
leveled at Chrystia Freeland. And they sort of dance around that, but when you look like into the details of what they are trying to do, this is the same account or same linked organization that went after Michael Chong. They are not going after Carney. They're signal boosting Carney, and they went after Freeland.
And they're doing it with coordinated, inauthentic content. And Ottawa was briefed about this just yesterday, April the 6th. But where's all the misinformation mongers, right? If they're boosting inauthentic content, it's the Liberals who have all this legislation out about curbing misinformation and criminalizing it. And so here we have that happening to our elections, and the Liberals are just sitting back, just quiet and mum on all of it. So we'll play this clip.
We are aware of an information operation targeting the 45th general election on the social media platform WeChat. The information operation was launched by Yoli Yomien, WeChat's most popular news account. Intelligence reporting links the Yoli Yomien account to the PRC, Chinese Communist Party's Central Political and Legal Affairs Commission. The content of this information operation contains story about the Prime Minister, Liberal Party of Canada leader, and candidate in Nepean, Mark Carney. This content has been amplified in a coordinated and inauthentic way. This information operation had contrasting positive and negative narratives, first amplifying Mr. Carney's stance with the United States, and then targeting his experience and credentials. The site task force assesses that the foreign state-backed information operation was intended to influence Canadian Chinese communities and look to mold perceptions about the candidate. The campaign received high levels of user engagement and views, between 85,000 and 130,000 interactions, and an estimate of 1 to 3 million views. WeChat developer Tencent reports that the platform itself has over 1.3 billion monthly active users, but has not disclosed how many of those users live overseas. The activity saw large spikes of what is believed to be coordinated inauthentic behavior on March 10th and 25th, 2025. Following increasing levels of engagement on the platform, the Liberal Party representative was briefed about the findings on April 6th. The site task force will be discussing this issue with Tencent, the developer of WeChat, later today to raise our concerns.
So Carney's briefed on it, but you just don't hear that in the news.
Well, and I guess I have a couple of different questions here. Or maybe not questions. My one question is, why is WeChat still operating in Canada? We know that it was used to target Conservatives and an NDPer named Jenny Kwan in the 2021 and 2019 elections. So we know this has been used to compromise the last two elections. So why is it still here? Well, I can tell you why. I'll answer my own question. Because the Liberals prorogued Parliament, so none of the recommendations of the Foreign Interference Commission were implemented, meaning the entire Foreign Interference Commission was just all for show. We sort of knew that towards the end of it when they said, we're actually never going to tell you who the 11 parliamentarians are who are compromised by foreign interference. But even if it weren't for show, the Liberals made sure that it was for show by proroguing Parliament before they could make sure that foreign interference was at least mitigated before we went into the next election. And why do you think they did that? Well, I'm guessing it's because the foreign interference would, as it did in the last two elections, flow to their benefit. And it sounds like Carney is China's pick. And that makes sense given Carney's stance on Paul Chang and now the replacement for Paul Chang. Paul Chang's replacement is Peter Ewan. Ryan Gertson has this photo, or I guess it's a video of Peter Ewan, who's also a former cop. Again, what is going on with the police service in Toronto?
Yeah.
Singing a ballad for the Chinese communists while in uniform. This is the replacement for the guy behind the kidnapping plot. This is just wild.
Mm-hmm.
This looks actually quite North Korean, with everybody in uniform singing a ballad for dear leader. It's very clear what this is all about. They're standing in front of like the Great Wall of China. This is no accident, right? So they, as Dean Skareko, it's a conservative activist in BC, points out, Charney just replaced one Chinese spy cop with another Chinese government spy cop. And this, the underlying issue that needs to be sorted out after the election, I think, is what the F is going on in Toronto policing, that there are these spy cops that are installed there. Imagine being a member of the Chinese community there, like the Chinese dissident community there that left China because you want to be free. And if there's any sort of foreign interference in your community, of intimidation, threats, officials, maybe they're bullying you out of the consulate like they did to Michael Chong, and you go to the police and then you get Paul Chang or Peter Ewan as the cop on your file.
Yeah, and Toronto is the place that has, I don't know if they have the most, but there are at least 3 Chinese police stations in and around the GTA. And so what is happening with Toronto police, these Chinese police stations? And there are, as we learn, the more and more that we learn, the more questions than answers we seem to have. But it's very clear from, Carney's Beijing banking bromances to this unfettered, unabated foreign interference, China's
these 2 candidate selections. Yeah, there's no accident that these 2 candidates were selected. And we have reports now from the site task force, which is largely useless. They're like, oh, we're going to be having discussions with WeChat. Okay, great. What are you going to do? WeChat is still here. It's the tool of foreign interference. If you were serious about it, you would have got rid of WeChat in Canada. I mean, we can't get news on Facebook. Like you guys could do something about WeChat. But I mean, it's just also in our faces. They're not even trying to hide it right now. With this, this shuffling of spy cops, Chinese spy cops in and around one riding. I mean, it's chairs. Crazy.
Yeah, it's musical spies. Musical chairs. Where's CSIS though? That's what I'd like to know in all of this. There was something I wanted to pull out a quote here from the backgrounder. The information operation targeting Mr. Carney is deliberately amplifying narratives in a coordinated and inauthentic way on WeChat to Chinese audiences, including communities living in Canada. The site task force observed large spikes of what is believed to be coordinated, inauthentic behavior on March 10th and 25th. So, I mean, it's taking them a whole month in the first instance to even bring this to the attention of Canadians during such a crucial time. Right? These aren't normal times that we're living. We're in the middle of a snap election with a prime minister who has never been elected by a constituency. He doesn't have a seat in the House of Commons. He has no political experience. He's coming from big banks that have very close, tight affiliations with the Chinese Communist Party, with Beijing banks, and all these tentacles and the spider web of affiliations with Chinese tycoons. And Sam Cooper has done amazing work on this file and drawing out those connections and shining a light on them. So this is just more craziness to add to the world that Canadians are currently living in. And as I see, liberal signs popping up everywhere, I'm like, do you guys really know what is happening within your party right now? And the thing I find really strange is how quiet people like Karina Gould and Chrystia
Uh-huh.
Freeland are on all of this. They're letting Mark Carney kind of just take the spotlight. I mean, he's the leader of the Liberal Party of Canada, but um, their silence is really also maybe showing that the Liberals know this is happening and they're not speaking out about it.
Well, and uh, who can speak out about it though, because he didn't take that gag, is Pierre Poilievre. Now the Liberals will hide behind, oh, I got high level briefing, so I can't talk about this, even though it's a huge issue in Canadian politics and in the election. Yeah, it's weird though that the Site Task Force says that Mark Carney, his messaging was being amplified around fighting the Americans, like his whatever the specific wording was. But if you read between the lines, it's like the whole elbows up narrative is being pushed by China. And I'm reliably informed by the likes of Ruby Dalla and Chandra Arya that if you are the recipient of foreign interference in an election campaign, at least relating to the Liberals, they'll boot you out on your ass. So Mark Carney is the beneficiary of foreign interference. China is meddling on his behalf to amplify his anti-American stance, which makes perfect sense because the China and America is those are the two big superpowers. Why is he still a candidate then? By his own metric, he's got to go.
Should we be expecting Mark Carney's resignation in the coming days? Well, hopefully you'll hear it first on our Daily News live stream.
Want to stay on top of the latest current events, but don't trust the mainstream media to help you do that? Then check out our daily live stream coverage of the latest news and totally unscripted at rebelnews.com/roundup.